Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we go racing just once in the Cup Series, and that is at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coca Cola 600, one of the longest races all season long, and our final opportunity in our Cup Series career to win this prestigious Coca Cola 600 race. We've come close multiple times, but we've never been able to quite pull this race off. This is actually the race where we picked up our first career win overall in NASCAR Heat 4, but we just not have been able to pick win up here in NASCAR Heat 5, and after the one we won in NASCAR Heat 4, we never won at Charlotte on the oval side again, I don't believe. So coming through to qualify with a 29.801, we actually qualified P16 here in Charlotte, so it was a respectable qualifying lap there. As you see, we have the chain smokers paint scheme back on the car. We're going to run that one or two more times throughout this final season of the career mode before we say goodbye to it here, and then of course end this series here coming up soon before NASCAR 21 comes out, as Bubba Wallace, so last episode's winner from Dover, who stole the win in the final laps of that race from myself, is starting up on pole here for the Coca-Cola 600 as he looks to get win number 3 on the season and could go back-to-back today. Now, as you see towards the bottom though, you got Austin Cindric as well as the Chip Ganassi racing driver of Timmy Hill. Alright, boys, it's been a long season so far. We're getting closer to the end of the regular season. I would love to get a crown jewel victory at this track here today, so I don't see why we can't do it. We got a great team. Let's go make it happen. There you hear myself on the radio to the team. Less than 10 races remain here in the regular season. It's hard to believe we're getting close to our final playoff stretch of our NASCAR Heat career mode in general, spanning back from NASCAR Heat 2 to this point here now. As you see, Ross Chastain had to replace the transmission before the race, just announced that he is actually going to be on Trackhouse IRL next season, so I accidentally got that correct now. So you'll see him with Trackhouse racing alongside my favorite driver of Daniel Suarez IRL. Next year, as the green flag is out in the Coca-Cola 600 here from Charlotte Motor Speedway is underway. Bubba Wallace leads us down towards turns 1 up front. With him, you got the McLarens, shocker there, Chase Elliott, Sam Mayer, Eric Jones all up in the mix, and it's still crazy to think that we're getting so close to the end of the regular season and only one McLaren driver has won a race, and they only have one win in general with Chase Elliott now, as they've been in the mix to win pretty much every single race this season. And although they may not have won the amount of races that we have at Gordon Hendrick Motorsports, they have had an unbelievable amount of consistency that no matter what is going to take them very deep into the playoffs. And you could definitely see Chase Elliott make it to the Final Four, because as of right now it looks like he is going to win the regular season championship unless we can find a way to match him or beat him here on a regular basis in the future. But he continues to just rack up those stage points and then those, of course, final finishing points way better than what we are doing. So we have, of course, more wins than him. We have 4 wins versus his 1 win, but he's just been overall more consistent than we have been now, as we kind of muscled our way through. Joey Logano right there into turns 1 got past him, and we were closing in already on a top 10 position. Bubba Wallace, he had a nice lead over Sam Mayer there in the McLaren as we came through to lap 5, moving up into P11, passing the number 20 of Rajah Caruth, and the caution actually had come out for the first time here on the day. You notice in the replay cameras, of course, in stage 1, it's dark in the replay cameras because the lighting isn't correct, and unfortunately that's been an issue all the way since NASCAR Heat 3 or something like that now. So it doesn't match up with the actual timing of the race. Instead, it uses the timing from the end of the race in the replay cameras. Obviously, everybody had no need to come into the pit lane there, so we all stay out and get back going here from the 11th position. A terrible restart there for the 20 of Rajah Caruth now, but you got 24 laps here in stage 1, so there's plenty of time to just get settled in and get into a rhythm. And honestly, I was looking back at it, we should have pitted right there, because we're actually going to have to pit before the stage comes to a close for not pitting there. But on the bright side, everybody else has to as well, so it's not really going to affect us too much here as we go down towards turn 3, right behind that 45 of Derek Kraus. Very competitive Derek Kraus has been this season, and 2311 racing in general, and obviously we've seen a lot more balance with the team ratings this season. A huge shout out to Lation for just really making that happen for me. He did all the ratings himself, sent them my way, and I put them in the game here, modded them into the game, and now the ratings have been very, very balanced, and I've been enjoying that a lot. Instead of last season where we had like 17 or 18 different winners, now we've only had like 5 or 6 6 or maybe 7. So it's been a lot better throughout this final season of the career mode so far. We've been seeing Todd Gilliland run a lot better since those regulation changes. I've been mentioning that every episode so far since that happened, because now he's running up there in the top 5. He's doing a great job here in Charlotte. Kyle Larson had a lot more speed than me at this point, so I actually let him go. He's been struggling since those changes, but today he seems to find, or be finding something, because this is the best he's run since those new engine regulations now. So I don't even think he's finished in the top 10 since that happened, but clearly he has enough speed. He got past the AlphaTauri of Brandon Jones, and now I was putting the pressure to the inside of the AlphaTauri driver. Now another driver that's really been doing well over the last few races, and wouldn't be surprised if he made the playoffs. He's right around that bubble area now. Kyle Busch has probably been the biggest surprise. He is still below the cut line, but he's within 10 points, so it's not like he's out of it now. As you saw, a bit of a mistake from myself on the exit of turns 2 on lap 18. I hit the apron up the track I went. That allowed the AlphaTauri of Jones to actually get back to my inside after we had cleared him a lap or so before, so now we had to try and fight him again. But now we were getting very, very close to green flag pit stops, and I decided, you know what, we got 4 wins on the season, and we don't have a whole lot to lose at this point. So I decided we're going to try something out here, because you guys remember in Texas, I got a second penalty in that race. As actually I forced Brandon Jones all the way up in the outside wall by accident. I didn't mean to do that. I felt bad about that, but unfortunately not much we can do now about that. But in Texas, we got a second penalty because of what I thought was speeding when I didn't, but then someone mentioned it was because I had pitted after the 2-lap cutoff before you're allowed to pit. So I didn't think that was correct, because I thought I had done it before, so I decided to test it right here. We were coming to the final lap in stage 1. Everybody had already made their pit stop except for the 41 of Keselowski, so I come in, and sure enough, I get penalized for this. I was not speeding, can confirm, so I actually was forced into only taking like half a can of fuel to make sure I don't go a lap down or anything. So I kind of messed myself over, but I wanted to verify this now before we maybe do that in the playoffs or something. This has not been really much of an issue until this season specifically for some reason. Whoever, I can't remember who it was that mentioned it in the comments section, saying that it was because you pitted after the little 2-lap cutoff of when you're allowed to pit towards the end of a stage, and sure enough, that was correct actually. So you cannot pit with 2 laps to go in a stage. It has to be before that mark. So we end up crossing the line, or not crossing the line yet, but we get P22 here in stage 1 because of that. But we gave up a few points, but I wasn't concerned because I just wanted to verify if that's what the reasoning was, and sure enough it was. So that changes every thing that we do later in the season with the playoffs, so we don't make that mistake again, hopefully now. So you can see the very, very mixed strategy all of a sudden here. I'm going to come into the pit lane because I have to, because I only took half a can of fuel. I didn't take any tires, so we have to pit for 4 tires as well as 2 cans of fuel. Unfortunately, we dropped down to P29 because of that, but now we actually have a bit of an advantage here against the competition as we get underway for the start of the second stage. Chase Elliott is back here with us, so is Todd Gilliland and Brandon Jones, but now it is time to get amped. We were nearly down in 30th place at the start of stage 2, and now at the end of lap 3, we're up into 14th, following our Gordon Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Kyle Larson here as we come through out of turns 2, and we are just hauling the mail with Kyle at this point now. I was just kind of letting him be my guide through the traffic now, because you can see the advantage we have on everybody, and it's because up front we have a bunch of drivers that have a lot more worn tires than us and are just slower in general. So I actually took the opportunity there, past Kyle Larson down the back straightaway, and all of a sudden we're about to enter the top 5 here after just 5 complete laps. Ty Gibbs up here in the top 3 for a brief moment, but we are going to put that to an end real quick now as we go right on by there on the inside. Christian Eckes in the Red Bull following through as we got our Earnhardt Johnson Alliance racing teammate there of William Byron on our outside, but unfortunately he has nothing for us, neither does Zane Smith, because of this tire advantage, and of course their cars are just a little bit slower, so we would just drive right on by them here as we came through at a turns for us. So myself goes to P1, Christian Eckes in that 83 Red Bull car up to 2nd place. He currently has 2 wins on the season, looking for his 3rd win on the year tonight in the Coca Cola 600. Now there's trouble behind us, so Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going to go crashing, taking Suarez with them. Max Gutierrez got involved as well there as the Roush LeBron driver goes for a bit of a impact, to say the least, now as the caution is out, and immediately you see again split strategies here in the Coca-Cola 600. I decided to stay out. I was basically doing what a lot of the guys were doing, that the strategy we were already on with, like Chase Elliott and whatnot, as well as Todd Gilliland, Brandon Jones, and it looked like they were all staying out, so I decided to stay out, and all of the drivers that had stayed out at the end of stage 1 had pitted right there pretty much. So it was weird here. We've never really been in a position where we've had split strategies like this when it comes to Charlotte Motor Speedway, so this caught me off guard, and I don't know if this is going to work out or not. Hopefully it does, because we want our first Coca-Cola 600 win here tonight, but if we find ourselves on the wrong strategy, I mean, there's nothing we can really do about it. So as we came through a little bit later, we were just about 3 seconds ahead of Chase Elliott on lap 17. We had driven away. We had absolutely no pressure whatsoever, but then, well, the caution actually decides it's going to come out, and that would destroy our chances of winning the stage, because now we have to come into the pit lane, because all of the drivers that had pitted under the last caution are going to stay out, and they can probably stay out at the end of this stage, because it's only going to be about 2 laps to go. So now that forces everybody that stayed out on the last caution to come in this time. So it's still all over the place, and the strategies are going to be so different throughout the probably remainder of this race now. But we are at the front of this half strategy going on, and it was still confusing, but or it might be confusing for you guys. I'm trying to explain it the best I can. Hopefully I'm doing a good job with it, but we get back underway now. There's only 2 laps to go, so if we would have stayed out there, we would have had to pit at the end of the stage anyways and go even further deeper in the field. So it made sense to give up the stage win, because it gives us a better opportunity to maybe fight for a stage 3 win, setting us up for, most importantly, stage 4. Do keep in mind there is 4 stages here in the Coca-Cola 600. I know NASCAR's reasoning for 4 stages here is because of the prestigious race, and it is a long race. I'm surprised, though, why they don't do it in Darlington as well. Now, it's actually kind of messed over my teammate of Alex Bowman right there. But as we start the final lap of stage 2, we are up into the top 10 here. So it's just about getting ourselves as far up the grid as possible here before the stage comes to a close. Out of turns 2, up the inside of Derek Kraus as we go down this back straightaway. But if I am correct, these drivers are all around us right here. They all stayed out, of course, so they should be pitting at the end of this stage. So Christian Eckes, by the way, is the leader for Red Bull Racing out of turns 4. He is going to come through to win stage 2, and we're going to at least get a top 10 there, passing Tyler Reddick right at the last second to get P8 there, just behind 7th place of Rajah Caruth. But like I said, now all of the guys around us here, yes, sure enough, they are going to come into the pit lane. So it's going to be myself back out in front, but there is one difference this time. Is now the drivers that are on the same strategy as us, that are staying out here, have equal tires to us. The reason I had like a 3-second lead over a guy like Chase Elliott in the last stage is because everybody that was on our strategy, pretty much the same strategy, all had a little bit older tires than myself. Now our tires are equal, so we're gonna see what these guys truly have. Do we have a car that was capable of pulling out 3 seconds? I don't think so. We're about to probably get quite a bit of a wake-up call from these drivers here. 22 laps in this third and somewhat middle stage of the race now. One more stage remains after this as we exit turns 2. Timmy Hill up here in the mix, but we're really keeping an eye on the McLaren driver of Chase Elliott. We know he's going to have speed no matter what the situation is, and we're about to see if he's got speed to compete with us. Todd Gilliland in the front row Mercedes car just behind him as we exit turns 4. We're at least going to come through to lead the first and opening lap here of this third stage now, but I could tell right off the bat that on the equal tires or on the even worn tires, we were in for a bit of that wake-up call I was mentioning, because here comes Todd Gilliland doing what I did not think was ever going to be done here tonight. He goes around the outside of Chase Elliott, gets to the outside of me, and down the back straightaway into turn 3, he is going to just blow our doors off. And then of course I make a mistake too, so it makes it even easier for him, but he was going to get clear anyways. So out of turns 4, now here comes Chase Elliott trying to look to the inside. I realized that both him and Todd Gilliland way faster than me here at the start of stage 3, so I wasn't really in a mood to try and fight them. Of course, I am not trying to be in a position where I'm slowing each other down, myself and another driver, because we got to think about the guys that had pitted. We want to stay as far ahead of them as possible for this third stage, but look at the gap Todd Gilliland created. He drove away, and then Chase Elliott, he actually started falling off in the opening laps here of stage 3. So then all of a sudden, here I am looking back to the inside of him, trying to get on through into that runner-up spot, and we sure enough just about clear him into turns 1, but trouble behind us. William Byron goes for a crash. Bubba Wallace involved there. He got a piece of it. Shouldn't affect him too much, but big hits all around. Cole Custer piles in. So does the 17 car. Caution comes out. We've had a couple of big crashes tonight so far here in Charlotte with 42 laps remaining, and you're seeing once again the strategy. So it's split up even more. A couple of drivers right there. Chase Elliott decides he's going to pit. I decided to stay out with the remainder of the rest of the drivers on our current strategy. So we get back underway, and then I realize we actually have a bit of a problem. So Chase Elliott, well, we have 11 laps of fuel in the car. There's 13 laps to go on the stage. So we cannot make it to the end of the stage without a caution. Chase Elliott, on the other hand, who just pitted, I can't remember who the other driver was that came in with him, they can now make it to the end of the stage. So we actually just completely possibly messed ourselves over here in this closing moment of this race now, as Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes has shown up out of nowhere. He's going to get to our inside and clear, no problem, out of turns 4. And now I'm actually just going to push him down this front straightaway. But now my concerns were building, because, yeah, I realized I wasn't going to make it to the end of stage 3. I could try and potentially save some fuel here to see if we can stretch it, but 2 laps to save in just over 10 laps ago, it's going to be quite a challenge. So it was definitely looking like I had completely thrown a potential race win away here in the Coca Cola 600 there, as you see me push up out of turns 4, and that allowed the AlphaTauri of Brandon Jones to go by. So now on lap 12, coming to 13 right there, we would fight back to his inside, though, as once again Todd Gilliland was just driving away in that front row Mercedes. He has a chance to win here tonight. He's got a fast car. And then the McLaren of Eric Jones, he would join the party as well, but now we were getting closer and closer to some green flag pit stops, and obviously my only hope here, and everybody else on our strategy, is to hope a caution comes out before we have to pit. So I had to push it as late as possible, but I realized I had to come in before that 2 to go situation. So now as we go down into turns 1, Eric Jones is going to get by me. Then here comes Bubba Wallace in the 23, who's, I think, the first driver really on those fresh tires from that other strategy, and he was showing that off very well now, as he would go 3 wide with Eric Jones and Lewis Hamilton there. The AlphaTauri comes into the pit lane. So does Todd Gilliland, who gives up the lead now as they made a little bit of contact with the 7 of Eric Jones right there. But I knew right here I got to come into the pit lane along with that 44 of Lewis Hamilton. So both of us now at the end of lap 19 come into the pit lane. I get into it really well, but I actually have to back up right here to make sure I don't get put into the water barrels or something. So very unfortunate, and I knew I had to take 4 tires, so I threw 4 tires on the car, 2 cans of fuel, and we're actually going to come out behind Hamilton still, and he would actually have a nice gap over me when we came out of the pit lane, surprisingly. So very unfortunate how this ending of the stage is going to be, because we're also a lap down. So we just got completely messed over in so many different ways. instantly regretting not pitting with Chase Elliott under that last caution, because we would come through passing Suarez there for 24th place, but the 83 of Christian Eckes would end up out front here on this final lap of stage 3, and now to turns 4. Sure enough, down the front straightaway, he is actually not going to win the stage because he's coming into the pit lane. So there goes the 66 of Sam Mayer in the McLaren to win the stage instead. So I'm guessing there should be a penalty there for the 83 of Eckes or something like that, but either way, we're going to get P23 in stage 3, and we are trapped a lap down because we're also not in position to get the lucky dog. And then I'm looking at it, of course, with these weird strategies going on, I was hopeful that we would be able to just take a wave around right here, but not everybody on the lead lap is pitting. Obviously that messes us up even more. So Chase Elliott ended up getting second. Bubba Wallace is one of the guys that's going to stay out. So we have to come into the pit lane. There's no other thing we can do. Obviously, we don't have to come in, but I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, we can top up on fuel and maybe give us a slim chance to find something here to make it to the end of this race or something. And now we're in a position where we are racing for the lucky dog now, so we have to get a little bit up the grid here if we want to make that happen. Daniel Suarez, Brandon Jones pitted with myself as well. Myself and Brandon Jones running up in the top 10 for the majority of this race, up in the top 5, and now both of us are here a lap down in the mid-30s in the fourth and final stage. Just about 24, 23 laps to go in this race, so we're gonna need a lot of luck here because we need to very quickly get into a position to get the lucky dog and then get a caution as soon as possible. Honestly, didn't quite think it was going to happen, but at the same time I had thought about the wrecks we've had. We've had quite a few cautions in this race, a couple of big incidents, so my hope was still there now as Brandon Jones is just going to go right on by on the inside. I knew I had to be aggressive, so I decided, you know what, it is time to turn it up here, and I'm just going to take a 3 wide in the middle. If you're going to be in my way on the inside and the outside, I'll just go in between all of you guys. So now as we go down towards turns 1, here we are making up some ground now, a little bit of contact with the 8 of Zane Smith right there, but we just continue to make this middle lane work with really no issues at all now. So I knew that was my only option because I couldn't find a way to get to the inside, and I knew I couldn't pass these guys on the outside. So it was very frustrating having to do this, of course, but it was really all I could do as I got into the back of the 8 right there. Got him sideways, a good save right there by the Richard Childress Racing driver of Zane Smith. Now, as I was just hoping a hole was going to open up that would allow me to slide down to the inside, but it was not happening. So we were just kind of stuck in this 3 wide middle scenario, and I knew even though we were moving our way pretty nicely, we were still giving up a lot of time there. But finally, right here, an opportunity to get to the inside. Ton Gilliland, another driver that kind of got bit by that awkward strategy that we were on, so a driver that could have won this race as well is now back here with us. But look at us go now, up into 22nd place, but we're over a second behind Harrison Burton. Now is behind us. There goes Daniel Suarez crashing, takes out the 10 of DiBenedetto, and the 18 of Kyle Busch gets collected as well. Another incident here in Charlotte, but unfortunately we were still 2 cars behind a lucky dog spot of Lewis Hamilton and Harrison Burton. So we had to once again pit just to make sure we could make it to the finish, and now it was looking unbelievably unlikely that we were going to get a good finish out of this one as we get back underway for the final 17 laps of this race. Sam Mayer out front leading the way, and the only hope we have is once again just haul the mail as far as we can towards that lucky dog position and get a caution. But at the same time, we get a caution now, there's only going to be like 12, 13 laps to go when we're going to be down in, you know, probably 30th again. So it's not a good opportunity for us even if we get the lucky dog. So I knew our race was over from this point on, and it was just about just trying to get whatever spots we could get here before it came to a close now. And we were back in that position where I had to just force my way through the middle 3 wide for multiple laps now as we go in between the 2 Monster Energy sponsored cars. Ty Gibbs, Haley Deegan there now into turns 1 behind Lewis Hamilton in that number 44 Mercedes Pastrana's car now as we go up the inside of him. Still 3 wide middle now with 15 laps to go, but right there an opportunity gets up the inside as we get clear of Haley Deegan and down into turns 1. We are already moving up towards the lucky dog position and can confirm by the time it came through to just 11 laps to go, we were now in that lucky dog spot, and we were just hauling through this traffic. We got past Joey Logano. He tried to take me out there for a brief moment, didn't quite work out in his favor, and we were up in towards the top 10 here on track, but actually, of course, with the timing, we're P21 due to being a lap down. So showing the speed we got in this car, but Bubba Wallace, by the way, had taken the lead in the closing laps, approaching 4 laps to go, and we had gotten all the way up to the back of the McLaren of Eric Jones, who was running in P5, 2 laps to go in this race. Nothing we can do. The caution never happened, and unfortunately we're stuck here in P21 as Bubba Wallace won last episode. He won at Texas a few episodes ago, and here he is now trying to get another win. If he holds on here for one more lap, that will be 3 wins for Bubba Wallace in the last 4 races, and sure enough, he makes it to the white flag. I look behind me, and very quickly was the 83 of Christian Eckes coming up to my rear view mirror. I didn't want to be in the way here because I saw he had an opportunity to battle with Eric Jones, so I just moved out of the way. I said, you can go have it, go fight Eric there in the McLaren, do whatever you want. So down this back straight away, no pressure for the 2311 driver of Bubba Wallace whatsoever in that DoorDash Toyota Camry, has a large lead over the McLaren of Sam Mayer, who's going to come up runner-up and have to still wait for that first victory as Christian Eckes right there gets past Eric Jones. Bubba Wallace wins the Coca Cola 600, 3rd win of the season, and his 6th career win overall and 3rd win in the last 4 races. Bubba Wallace right now is on a tear lately in our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode now, as we have to settle for P21. So we had the speed today. We had a potential race-winning car. Don't know if we had a car for Bubba Wallace or Chase Elliott or Sam Mayer. Kyle Larson did a really good job there. CJ McLaughlin, top 10, by the way. How about that? As well, Stenhouse in that Rush LeBron car got a top 10 after crashing earlier. Alfredo in the top 10 as well. Just unfortunately, we messed up the strategy, and that's all it took there to take us out of that one. And a bunch of drivers that were up front, like Todd Gilliland as well as myself, all got messed over, of course, with that strategy. But as always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode. Before we do end it, let's check out the point standings there after that episode. So Bubba now up at a P3 in the playoff grid. And then you see on your right bottom side of the screen, Kyle Busch is out by 7. Zane Smith is out by 9. Cindric 47, 49 for Caruth, 61 for Todd Gilliland, who's getting closer and closer. Do not count Todd Gilliland out yet, as we still have 6 races to go here in the regular season, or 6 or 7. Actually, sorry, there's 8 in the regular season to go. But before we end it, just want to say thank you to the Go On Racing members of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, Age of Asura, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana9302, Speed Demon 341, as well as Illinois Diecast. I appreciate you guys' support so much, as I always mention, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.